Hello, everybody. I got a couple of games for you guys to watch today. Recently participated in the Base Trade TV's amateur tournament. This one was on Wednesday. This video is going to go up a little bit later today. So basically, it's a bunch of round of ones down to the semifinals, and then the semifinals and finals are best of three. And in the finals, your game gets casted on Base Trade TV on Twitch. The winner gets an hour of coaching from a professional gamer of their choice. So let's just jump right into this. This is going to be my games, but I'm going to just cast them sort of. I'll show you what everybody was doing and what happened and how they went. The first couple of games were a little bit anticlimactic. I was expecting to get cheesed a lot being in best of ones. So yeah, here we go. This is game one, best of one. Thought of our Zerg player, Crackling, in round one. We had a hatch, a gas pool, very, very common. Overlords getting pushed out on the map for some vision. This one decides to hold a little short. I'm not really sure what he's looking for here, but it is what it is. I went for a 2-gate expand. Sent a couple of depths out across the map early to throw down some pressure. They were able to snipe off a couple of these lings, which was great. A couple of drones here. And decide that was enough. It's time to go home. So all in all, look at the losses tab. We're dead even on resources lost. Of course, Zerg has lost 8 drones mostly. Well, 4 of those were lings. Didn't do too much, but did a little. Did enough. Crackling decided that the good use of his lings was to attack these rocks for approximately 3 years to try to take them down. I've got an oracle on the other side of the map waiting for an opportunity to pounce. It's not super effective. Oracle ended up with 6 kills, not too bad, most of which were lings. A pretty good sized move out here into these squares, having to funnel those lings down. This attack coming in, charge is just about done, well, almost halfway. A couple of good forces to block on some of these rings that are coming in. Of course, those range units are able to shoot over the forces, do some damage to this. Our losses tab still heavily in our Protoss' favor, or my favor. Keep trying to move out with these roaches, just not working too well. It's 53 probes at 40 drones. Supplies dead even, almost even. These Immortals just getting their weight in gold. 9 kills, 6 kills, 4 kills, 4 kills. The Immortals just blasting through everything. Monster storms just rip through everything. And that's all we had for game 1. So now we move into our next best of 1. It's on Blackpink. Another PVZ here. We got a very fast spawning pool here. We got a 12 pool coming up for the Zerg, and the Protoss is looking pretty standard at this point, working on that forward wall, throwing a gate down. We see 6 Zerglings immediately in production for our Zerg player. Not enough gas. He took a geyser, but not mining any, so we have no gas for Ling speed, and he's also just still on 13 workers. So this is definitely, obviously, an all-in. I'll show you my perspective, my camera here, for just a minute. Working on my normal game, and I obviously see quite a few Lings here. He's got 6 more in production. I obviously didn't know that many Lings that early. We know that the Zerg's intentions are less than normal play, so to go ahead and finish up this wall, and I'll just show you. Well, we'll go back to everyone's view here. So here comes the first Zergling. Try to get in here. I got a shield battery going down on my side. Wall's already up. Adept comes out. Second Adept is just over halfway done. We've got 12 Lings on the field by now. Got 2 Adepts out. They're trying their best to get through this gate. Trying to get through the shield there. the battery finishes up and I start healing up the shields on my gateway. Obviously they can't replenish a ton of them, but enough to hold it. So, and then of course I'm walled off here, so I work on taking this pylon down. We'll go back and check him out. Let's look at the, what's his name? Nyat Zombo Action Cam. It does actually look like he's kind of trying to macro out of this, out of his early game pressure that didn't do anything. I did cut probe production during the defense to make sure I had enough in case I needed to pull probes and help with the defense. So the probe count's pretty close now. He droned up while that attack was going on.
Drones are under attack.
We jumped off of his action cam so we can watch how well these adepts do up here. They are able to shade away, so coming, bringing them back. Put on the second Nexus. Still ahead on probes, which is great for me. I do have an Oracle that's out. Just going across the map right now. These armies are going to just pass each other, not see each other. Until now here, of course. And that does prompt the Zerg to come back, try to sandwich this army here. They've got a one roach on the field. They kind of really afford anything else. Okay, here's a little a tip for any new players maybe watching, or people who don't play and are just curious. If you attack into somebody, with, say, an army supply of 40, and you lose that fight, you decide to go back home and get some more army, and then you get this idea that instead you want to attack again. If you attack with less army than you had the first time, and you lost the first time, and you attack again, you're not going to fare very well. And that's what this guy's problem was. He attacked and he lost. He went to go home, decided, nah, I'll just go back with half the army that I had the first time and see if it works out. Well, obviously it didn't work out. Now, Bailings are the wild card here. If you get a couple of good Bailing hits, these charge lots can melt away really quick. This really, really weak High Templar be a big, important unit to take out. You see those Bailings all crash into those zealots and take them out. But again, if you attack and you lose, don't attack again with less. So that's just a fun little tip. Seems obvious, but it's a big mistake people make all the time. And now we've got a huge supply lead by me, and I've decided to go ahead and move out at this point. So. And that's all we had for game number 2. So now we move into the, now we move into the semifinal rounds. So the semifinal here was best of 3. Protoss versus Zerg again. And this game was better than the other games. So you're not going to have to endure another just people rushing and getting crushed and doing stupid things. This actually went into the beginnings of the late game. Well, it went into the late game. And spoiler alert, I did lose this game, but it was good. It was fun. So let's watch and I'll jump in when I feel like there's something I should say. Now, he goes for a gas pool before hatch. Normally, if a player is doing this, you assume it's going to be very aggressive. Of course, I didn't know he was doing this because I haven't scouted yet. We're only 52 seconds into the game. However, on Black-Pink, the rust distance is very, very, very long. The time it takes to get from your base to the enemy's base makes this map more geared to a macro-oriented game. These games are almost guaranteed to at least make it into the mid-game, just because of the distance that it takes to get between the maps. Plus, these little squares will funnel units in, and so it does slow down your unit progression across the map. So this spawning pool probably didn't really matter that he made it. It just slowed down his hatchery, which slowed down his macro game. But of course, making a couple of wings for defense is never a bad idea. Especially, I went for 2 gates again. So, but if you're playing on this map, pool first or even gas pool is not always the best option. He did pull back out of gas after he got just over 100, 100 for the Zergling speed, and then went back to mining minerals. So that was a good call by him. Here comes my first scouting probe, which is going to see a couple of wings, which of course are going to have a couple of wings, so this didn't concern me at all. And there you can see how the Lings have to snake in and out of these little squares there. there you can see his Ling speed just finished up. They drink the Red Bull, they grow some wings, and they run a lot faster. Now, losing both of those depths is actually a pretty big deal. You want to keep those 2 adepts alive. They didn't get any damage done, for one thing. On the other side of the map, no drones were lost, and they died. So now instead of having 4 adepts, I have only 2 adepts. So Pete just ran in here with his Lings, which he doesn't have too many, about 10. But if he decided to run across, I would have a hard time defending this. 10 Lings can take down 2 adepts pretty easily, which is why I go ahead and warp in a sentry, so I can start building up some energy, so I can have a couple of force builds in case he did decide to try to run in. He didn't, spoiler alert, but that's why I went with that sentry so early. Again, we're still early game, starting to transition now into the mid game, and so early game aggression, like I said, is not really a thing on this map because of the distance between bases, so probably why he decided not to go ahead and attack. I apologize, I'm not sure why all of these unlocks are decided to pop up right now. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but they should finish up soon. There we go. And that was probably my first, well, this follows the first mistake that I made. First mistake I had was losing the 2 adepts initially. Second mistake was losing that entire army for free. No probes went down, he lost a couple of units, but nothing major. So these one mistake fell upon another mistake. So I was already pretty far behind at this point. So that started off good. Dropped a couple of good storms down. Unfortunately, again, I just stuck around too long. Ended up losing all of my High Templar, multiple Immortals, a bunch of Zealots. Did save a few, but so that was probably a wash. He did lose a base, which was nice. I'm on 4 bases and he's on 4. Would have been 5. So that was started off good and then just ended up not in my favor. So. I was out of position here. I would have recalled to this Nexus, but recall was still on cooldown. Ended up denying an upgrade there. Storm of a whiff there. Not all the army is fighting here. A lot of this army is stuck between the Nexus and that gate. However, I do end up cleaning it up, which was a very nice win. I felt like I was pretty ahead at this point, and the supplies kind of reflect that. We're even on drones. Well, he's got a couple more drones there. We were even on drones going into the fight. He's got 5 Immortals, but now he's got no fighting units except for 2 Queens. He did go for this expansion explosion. Trying to get more ahead at this point. Huge storms going down over here. Lings flood in to reinforce and go for the recall here. And get most of my units that are still alive out. We did see a big drop in supply, but we got a big drop in supply on both sides. Unfortunately, I currently have no more High Templar. I did a very poor job at keeping my High Templar safe during this game. As you can see, those storms make a huge difference. And without those storms, you don't fare very well. This base, pretty inconsequential if I kept it or lost it, so I didn't want to waste it. Recall or take a bad engagement to get back over here. Of course, you can lose out on those minerals, 400 minerals, and then 75 each for the extractors. Just some more posturing by the armies. He decides to run back home with his Lings. And now we are within one on the supply. Drones are basically even. Two fights going on here. We got the Hydras over here, and we got the Lings destroying the base over here. Unfortunately, I need the Storm over on this for this fight, and I just don't have the units over for this fight. So he doesn't take out this forge, so he doesn't get to stop that upgrade. He did lose all of his Hydras over here. I tried to go for a move out. Now that fight wouldn't have been so bad had I not messed up all those other fights earlier in the game. Had I not lost those two Adepts early, had I not traded my entire army early. Now we've got Lings flooding in from every side, we got a bunch of Hydras down here. We do have High Templar with Storm, but it's hard to fight an army when it spans 4 or 5 streets. Huge line of storm all the way down these Hydras. just didn't have enough on the ground to back it up. Didn't have the tanky zealots to hold these guys off. And now my economy is down to 59 drones. His economy hasn't been touched for a while. He's mining off of the gold base. He's getting pressuring up here. Depowers the forge, which is going to pause the Protoss ground armor level 2, and in fact he's going to get a complete cancel on it. So that was also really bad. Made a bad situation work. At this point, I pretty much know the game is over, just because I'm in a tournament, and you know, you don't want to just lead out too early. I wanted to go ahead and hold out and just see if I could hold anything out. I do get a cancel on there instead of a kill, which was great. But at this point, I just there's nothing here for me. Got one Archon. I do have 7 immortals. This was another huge mistake. I built 7 immortals, which for this entire battle. They really could have turned the tide earlier. In fact, they turned the tide here very well at taking out these Titans. Unfortunately, at this point, I'm down to 40 workers, but those 40 workers are between bases that are nearly mined out or mining out. And there's just no income at all. And you can look at the incomes up here and the supplies. There's just nothing left for me. So again, I just stay in this game just because I didn't want to tap out early and potentially have a chance, but I do GG out here and just all that. It is interesting in this game how quickly things can snowball. You know, I went from pretty close on everything, doing really well. A couple of bad things happen at the beginning, and then we go from that to just dead. So interesting. And then here is the best of 3. So here is match 2 in that best of 3. So, if, just to preface this before we get started, if I win here, I will go to the finals, and if I lose this game, I'm out of the tournament. So, a little bit of pressure here on this game. And he goes for a very early gas. Of course, I don't see that. Again, that gas pool before hatch. So, this rush distance is much smaller. In fact, this is the smallest, one of the smallest rush distances in the current map pool. And so now, where we saw a hatch pool be used defensively to hold out any pressure from any adepts, not really to move those across the map and try to get any damage done yourself, this gas pool is definitely offensive because of the distance of the map. Now, when players are playing best and gas or speed starts immediately. Now, when players are playing in these type of matches, these best of 3s or best of 5s or best of 7s or best of 9s, whatever it could be, there's a bunch of mind games that go on. You know, this is what he does as a cheese. He immediately gets 6 Zerglings and sends them across the map. Had I held and we went to the next game, so spoiler, I lose this map. This is at the point that I realize things are not standard and I need to finish up this wall. Now, if you remember in game 2 that we watched already, I got Ling flooded earlier in this tournament and I held, and that hold turned into a win. I'm going to pause this right here. So for those of you who either play StarCraft, in fact, I'm going to go back just a touch. For those of you who play StarCraft and will go up against a Ling Flood, potentially on this map, Biogenesis, or for people who are starting into the game, if you're going to build a pylon, let me show you here. Let me go to my view, because I didn't know this, and this is the single reason why I lost this game, was because of this pylon placement. So I need a wall here. If I don't get a wall, the Lings come in. The Ling flood comes in and everybody drowns. If I get this wall up, it holds, and I'm able to build ranged units with them shoot across my wall and kill the Zerglings, just as we saw in the previous game. So when I throw this pylon down, and I wish I could show you a little bit better. I wish it would show the grid on the ground. So from here to here, that little gap right here is on a diagonal. So I couldn't put anything in there. This square is red on the grid, and this is red for the pylon on this diagonal, and then this has got a square that's flush. So apparently, diagonals on buildings slash objects that act as buildings and cannot be moved or destroyed are not walled, and units can go by them. And in fact, after this game, I went back into it and took control, which I'll do here if we have a little bit of time at the end of this game to show you. So I throw this down, and that would have been perfect. That would have been a wall. But instead, at this point, I knew the game was probably over. Another mistake, I didn't get that pylon canceled. We got a full kill. I don't have anything in production yet as far as defensive units. I start him now. Like he's going to get this pylon kill, which depowers the gate, which stopped that. He works on that probe, gets the probe down. So these look like they're still training units, but they're not. They're no longer training units. So I pull down all my probes, pull the boys, bring them down. Their little taser guns are zapping them, and I actually do a fairly good job. Unfortunately, I leave this one Ling behind, and that one Zergling is extremely frustrating. Because if I just go back to mining, he can come up and just start attacking my mining, and there's the wall. So if I put the pylon on that side, would have walled off, and he would not have gotten in. Of course, if we've got more Zerglings streaming down from the north, some more, and some more. Just bringing down as many as he can. Unfortunately, I have no units here still. One adept comes out to try to get this Ling that was being super annoying. In the meantime, I lose that pylon, and that's pretty much all she wrote. So obviously, I do continue to try and hold. He's going for another wall there. These Lings get in here. Adept coming back down. Another adept comes out, depowers the gate again. And a little friendly banter here. Flawless opener, of course, that's a joke. I lose my adept. Both of my adepts lose the cybernetic score. Now that cybernetic score, losing that is two things. One, I can only build zealots from here on out, and these are speedlings. So zealots cannot catch speedlings, and they also can be caught by them, obviously. So if I'm trying to run away, the Lings can just trail behind and cause them to take damage over time, and they eventually die. And these are all of my fighting units right here, and obviously right now I'm also not mining any minerals, and with 85 minerals, I can't build a zealot. And so I had this sentry, and I had a zealot in production already. That sentry was for force fields there to try to get those units not to be good rounds. And at this point, I have lost everything. We look at units. I have 2 probes. 2 probes at 42.5 minutes is not a good place to be. So, and that's it. Of course, I stay in as pretty much as long as I can, but there's nothing for me here. Lings are still streaming in from the north, and I go ahead and GG out. I do tell him good luck with he went into the finals, so his game was streamed on Base Trade TV. And spoiler, I can't get that replay because they don't issue replay packs for this amateur tournament. If they do, I will do a cast of that, or at least I'll just let you guys watch it. And this Zerg Mangalore, he does end up winning the finals, so he gets an hour of coaching with a professional player of his choosing, and he did play against a Protoss. He played against a Terran in the finals, so Good job for him. It was super fun. They are going to start doing these amateur tournaments every single Wednesday. So if you're watching and you play StarCraft or you want to play StarCraft, Base Trade TV, if you comment in the bottom of this video, I can send you all the information you need. What chat channels to go into. I can tell you. What video, web pages to go to, how to sign up, everything. And they rotate. So they do diamond and below, platinum and below, and then gold and below. So next week, next Wednesday, we're going to have gold and below, and all of those games are going to be on Base Trade TV. The following week will be diamond and below, which I will participate in, and then the next one will be platinum and below, and we'll just continue rotating. So I hope you enjoy. Different than my normal videos, and the tournament was today, Wednesday, February 21st, 2018, on the most recent patch. So I hope you guys all enjoy. Like and subscribe, and we will see you soon. Thank you.